It started with small, almost forgettable things. Lights flickering just as I passed beneath them. Floorboards creaking in the dead of night when no one was awake. The subtle, persistent sensation of being watched. At first, I told myself it was my imagination playing tricks on me. An old house came with its quirks. After all, the drafts that whispered through the walls, the odd groan of settling wood, nothing unusual. But then I saw it. It was late. I had just finished unpacking, exhaustion weighing me down like a thick blanket. As I made my way to the bedroom, I caught something in my peripheral vision. A shadow, tall, unnervingly still, lingering at the far end of the dimly lit hallway. My breath hitched. My heart slammed against my ribs. I spun to look directly at it. And it was gone. A nervous chuckle slipped past my lips. "Just my imagination," I muttered. The words felt hollow even as I said them. I forced myself to bed, burying the unease deep within me. But sleep didn't come easy. The house felt different now, heavier somehow, as if the air itself was pressing down on me. The next night, the shadow returned. But this time it was closer. I stopped dead in my tracks, my pulse roaring in my ears. It stood just outside the reach of the hallway light, its form impossibly dark, as though it drank in the dim glow around it. A shiver clawed its way up my spine. My instinct screamed at me to move, to run, but my feet remained rooted to the floor. I blinked. Gone. A cold sweat broke across my skin. Every fiber of my being told me that I wasn't alone, that something was lurking just out of sight. Still, I forced myself forward, unwilling to acknowledge the gnawing dread burrowing into my thoughts. Over the next few nights, the shadow became a fixture in my routine, always waiting, always closer. I stopped turning off the hallway lights. I told myself it was to keep from stumbling in the dark, but the truth was simpler. I was afraid. Afraid of seeing it again. Afraid that one night it wouldn't disappear when I blinked. Then the whispers began. At first they were faint, just a trickle of sound on the edge of hearing, a breeze shifting through unseen cracks. But as the days passed they grew stronger, clearer. Words spoken in a language I couldn't understand. A voice that was neither near nor far, neither male nor female. One night I awoke to find my bedroom door ajar. I was certain I had closed it. The air was thick with an unnatural chill. My breath came out in ragged plumes. The whispers were louder now, rising and falling in a rhythmic cadence. I reached for my phone, my fingers trembling as I turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, landing on the open doorway. And standing just beyond the threshold was the shadow. For the first time it moved. A slow, deliberate step forward. Then another. The whispering swelled. An unbearable symphony of incomprehensible voices. I scrambled backward, my breath strangled in my throat. The flashlight flickered, the darkness thickening, pressing in. And then, silence. The shadow was gone. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. By morning I had made up my mind. I had to do something. Research. A priest. Anything to rid my home of whatever this was. But as I sat in my living room scouring the internet for answers, a sharp knock at the door sent my heart lurching into my throat. I wasn't expecting anyone. Cautiously, I peered through the peephole. An elderly woman stood on my porch, her expression grim, her eyes dark with something I couldn't place. "You should leave," she said. The moment I cracked the door open, I frowned. "I'm sorry," her gaze flickered past me into the house. "This place, it doesn't want you here." A chill laced its way down my spine. "Who are you?" she hesitated. "I lived here once, a long time ago." Her voice was barely above a whisper. "I left. You should too." I opened my mouth to question her further, but she turned abruptly and walked away, disappearing down the street before I could call after her. That night, I made sure every door and window was locked. I kept every light on. I clutched my phone like a lifeline, but none of it mattered. Because at exactly 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate. I squeezed my eyes shut, willing it to be a dream. But the sound grew louder, closer. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. And then I felt it. A presence standing at the foot of my bed. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Something pressed against my chest, invisible hands pinning me down. My mouth opened in a silent scream. The whispers returned, the voices so close they brushed against my ear, their words coiling through my mind like a living thing. And then I saw it. In the dim glow of the nightlight, its form was fully revealed. A twisted, faceless figure, with limbs too long, fingers tapering into needle-like points. Its head cocked at an unnatural angle, as if observing me. And then it reached for me. I don't remember much after that. Only that when I finally regained control of my body, I was gasping for breath, my sheets soaked with cold sweat. By morning I was gone. I packed a bag and drove away without looking back. I never returned. Months later I learned that no one ever stayed in that house for long. Tenants came and went, each leaving sooner than the last. And sometimes when I drive past I see it. A dark figure standing in the window, watching, waiting. I tried to forget, but the dreams won't let me. In them I am back in that house, standing in the hallway, trapped in endless darkness. The whispers surround me, growing louder, until they become screams. And then just before I wake, the shadow is there, reaching for me again. And this time I know I won't escape.